Hello, this is Ron Climer from Ormond Beach, Florida. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Realty, and I've been a realtor for 40 years. I've done this a long time, and I've watched people sell their own house, and some of the mistakes they made, and they do make, have been making for 40 years, are things that could easily be avoided. And the first one, the biggest one, the most gigantic one, is they don't qualify buyers. And today, this is so much easier than it used to be. 20 years ago, this was like a big mysterious thing. But today, there's no reason that you should entertain a buyer that doesn't have a pre-qualification letter from a mortgage company that says, I'm qualified for a $250,000 loan and I've got $50,000 cash to put down. And that's just prerequisite that you should have that. And if you don't have it when you first show them the house, before you get down and get serious with them, because you can enter into a contract with a buyer that we're going to close in 45 days. He doesn't qualify for the mortgage. Now, he knew he wasn't going to qualify. He just didn't tell you. And so you have a responsibility to yourself to get out there and talk to the mortgage company and get some kind of assurance that this guy's going to be approved. We realtors wouldn't think about putting somebody in the car and going showing them 10 houses without doing this. And by the way, most realtors learned that the hard way, if you know what I mean. Even though we tell them in training class, but all of a sudden they're out with some guy, he finds a house, they've shown them 10 houses, then they get with the mortgage guy, and the mortgage guy says, oh, this guy's got bad credit, or oh, this guy has only been on the job 2 weeks, or whatever his problem is. You want to know that your guy can get to closing. Now, another thing that people make as a mistake is a lot of times they compare their house to houses it's not comparable to when they're picking their price. If you don't have your house priced right, no matter if the market is red hot or ice cold, and by the way, the market changes. I've seen both of those situations. I've seen ice cold, I've seen red hot. I've seen interest rates as low as they are now. I've seen them as high as 18%. But no matter what's happening, you got to have your house priced right. Because if it's not priced right, people are going to come look at it, but they're not going to buy it. Or if it's priced way out of bounds, they're not looking at it. In fact, if people aren't looking at your house, it's because it's overpriced. But what people do a lot of times is they compare their house to other houses that they're really not comparable to. Your house is in mediocre estates, and you're comparing it with that house over in fancy dancy estates. It's the same amount of square feet with the same distance from the shopping center, but they're not the same. In many cities, and Ormond Beach is a perfect example. Here in Ormond Beach, Daytona Beach, when you cross the bridge and go over to what we call the beach side from the mainland, prices go up. The exact same house is going to cost you more on the beach side than it does on the mainland. So if you're got a house on the mainland, you're comparing it with what you've seen over on the beach side, it's just not the right answer. The best thing to do is just get your house appraised by a professional appraiser. You pay them $350, they appraise your house, they say your house is worth $300,000. And then you know. But for some reason, most for sale by owners rarely do this. In fact, oftentimes, even if some realtor such as myself offers to do a free market analysis for them, which is not quite the same as an appraisal, but depending on who's doing it, might be just as good for determining a valid price. And they'll say, no, I don't want you to do that. I don't want that information. But be sure your price is right. If your price is wrong, now by the way, if your price is too high, your house is just going to be for sale, be for sale, be for sale. If your price is too low, oh, that's not a problem. Not a problem for the buyer because your house is going to sell very quickly. your house is worth 300, you price it at 260, bam, it sells in a weekend. And yeah, I think there's a mistake there that you could have well avoided. The next thing that sellers do, a lot of times they underestimate the significance of age. In real estate, we call this dated. I hate that word, but it's what we call it when the house looks like 1988. And because what happens is they had different countertops back in those days. Carpet was the rage, and all. So you got a house that's. I listed a house like this a couple years ago. The house literally had been empty since 1987. It'd been empty since '87. Carpet was in perfect condition. The countertops were in perfect condition, but they were 30 years old. And so, it's like this just, because what happens is people look at it and say, oh, we don't want those old Formica countertops. We don't want those carpets. We want wood floors, or we want marble floors or something. So they're going to have to spend the money to fix it, to make it look like 2021. So don't underestimate that. And a lot of times people do. They say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with it is people just don't like it. Now, another thing, and I find this amazing, I spend a lot of time going out to look at houses that people have for sale without a realtor. And the reason I do this, I call them up, ask them if I come take a look at it, and probably about 7 out of 10 of them say, sure, come on out. And I come out and take a look at it and make a deal with them that if I got a buyer, I'll bring them by and we'll go from there. But a lot of times, they don't want me to come out and look at it. I'm flabbergasted. I mean, if I had a buyer, and I often do have buyers, that I can work out a deal with them, and they'd just rather trudge on by themselves. More power to them, but why do that work? I certainly wouldn't want to sell all of my listings without the help of my fellow realtors. MLS is a powerful tool. By the way, I don't want this to sound like a sales pitch for listing, but some of the mistakes that sellers make is not availing themselves to the tools that are available. Now, another thing is a lot of times people are what we call overbuilt for the neighborhood. It seems like every neighborhood on the planet has 1 or 2 houses that are far superior to the rest of them. All the houses in the neighborhood are 2,000 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. But here's this one house that's 4,500 square feet. It's got all kind of goodies, a swimming pool, all the stuff, but it's still over there in mediocre estates. And the people that live in it, the people that own it, they think that because they've added that extra 2,000 square feet, that it should be worth the same as that house over there in the neighborhood where all the houses are 4,500 square feet. And I'm sorry, folks, it's just simply not. And a lot of times, those people will have their house for sale for a long time, and finally, it'll come to them, this ain't gonna sell till we lower the price. Maybe not down to what the other houses in the neighborhood are, but certainly close. But those are just a few mistakes that people make. The less you can make these mistakes, the better off you are. Now, there's one final mistake that people that have their house for sale on their own make almost 100% of the time. And I find this just, how can you make this mistake? But somebody comes out to look at your house today, and they seem kind of interested, and they go away. Well, in sales, all kind of sales, follow-up is where the big bucks are. I can't imagine in my wildest dreams as a realtor that I wouldn't call that guy back 2 or 3 days later. Hey, why didn't you buy that house? Have you found something you like better? Yeah, let's get together. Well, as a for sale by owner, you can do the same thing. Couple comes out, looks at your house on Saturday, they like it, they're asking lots of questions, they like the schools, they like the layout of the house, they like this, they like that, but they don't buy it. And then they go away. And you never ever call them again. For crying out loud, call them and say, hey, can we get together? And they might say, well, actually, we were thinking we didn't like the carpet in the master bedroom. Well, if I change the carpet in the master bedroom, could we work that out? Well, let's come back and take another look. I've sold literally hundreds of houses to people that came back later, and you need to do that too. So try not to make these mistakes, and because that's how you be successful, is by making less mistakes. This is Ron Climer. I'm with Keller Williams Realty right here in Daytona. And if you got any questions about anything related to real estate, I would love to help you out. Give me a call, ask me a question, and we'll take it from there. So good luck to you. Stay in touch. Ron Climer. By the way, I wrote down my phone number. I didn't put it in my last video, but my phone number is 828-755-6996. 828-755-6996. So if I can help you with anything, give me a call. Thank you very much.